Adolf Hitler was born in Austria in 1889. After serving in World War I, he joined a small political party in Germany that would become the Nazi Party. Germany in the 1920s was suffering from economic collapse and humiliation after losing World War I. Hitler exploited this anger and desperation. He blamed Germany's problems on Jews, communists, and the Treaty of Versailles that had ended World War I. His propaganda was effective, and by January 1933, he became Chancellor of Germany. Within months, he transformed Germany into a dictatorship, eliminating all opposition, controlling the media, and establishing a brutal police state under the Gestapo and SS. Hitler's ideology was based on extreme nationalism, racism, and the belief that Germany needed living space, Lebensraum, in Eastern Europe. He began systematically violating the Treaty of Versailles by rebuilding Germany's military. In 1936, German troops marched into the Rhineland, a demilitarized zone. In 1938, he annexed Austria. Then he demanded the Sudetenland region of Czechoslovakia, claiming he was protecting ethnic Germans. Britain and France, desperate to avoid another war, agreed to his demands at the Munich conference, a policy called appeasement, but appeasement failed. In March 1939, Hitler seized the rest of Czechoslovakia. He then turned to Poland. In August 1939, he shocked the world by signing a non-aggression pact with Soviet dictator Joseph Stalin. Secretly, they agreed to divide Poland and Eastern Europe between them. On September 1, 1939, German forces invaded Poland. Britain and France declared war 2 days later. World War II had begun. The German military used blitzkrieg, lightning war, combining fast-moving tanks, mechanized infantry, and devastating air attacks. Poland fell in just over a month, especially after the Soviet Union invaded from the east on September 17th. In spring 1940, Hitler launched attacks westward. Denmark and Norway fell in April. In May, Germany invaded France, Belgium, the Netherlands, and Luxembourg. Using blitzkrieg tactics through the Ardennes forest, German forces bypassed French defenses, Paris fell in June, and France surrendered. Britain now stood alone. Hitler launched the Battle of Britain, a massive air campaign to destroy the Royal Air Force and prepare for invasion. But the British, led by Winston Churchill, refused to surrender. The RAF fought desperately, and by October 1940, Hitler postponed the invasion indefinitely. Hitler's greatest ambition was conquering the Soviet Union. On June 22, 1941, he launched Operation Barbarossa, the largest invasion in history, with over 3 million German soldiers attacking along a 1,800-mile front. Initially, the invasion succeeded brilliantly. German forces captured millions of Soviet soldiers and advanced hundreds of miles. But the Soviets refused to collapse. As winter approached, German forces reached the outskirts of Moscow, but couldn't take the capital. The brutal Russian winter set in, and the German army wasn't prepared. Temperatures dropped to -40 degrees. Soldiers froze, equipment failed, and the offensive stalled. For the first time, Hitler's war machine had been stopped. The Eastern Front became the war's bloodiest theater. At Stalingrad in 1942–43, one of history's most devastating battles occurred. After months of brutal urban combat, the Soviet Red Army surrounded and destroyed an entire German army. It was a turning point. Germany was now retreating. Meanwhile, Hitler had allied with fascist Italy under Mussolini and Imperial Japan. When Japan attacked Pearl Harbor on December 7, 1941, Hitler declared war on the United States, a catastrophic decision that brought America's industrial might against him. The war was now truly global. German U-boats hunted Allied shipping in the Atlantic. The North African campaign saw desert warfare between German and British forces. In Eastern Europe, the Germans committed unspeakable atrocities, systematically murdering 6 million Jews in the Holocaust, along with millions of others they deemed undesirable. By 1943, the tide had turned against Germany on all fronts. The Allies invaded Italy. The Soviets pushed westward, liberating their territory. Strategic bombing devastated German cities and industry. On June 6, 1944, Allied forces landed in Normandy, France, opening a Western front. Germany was now being crushed from both east and west. Hitler refused to surrender, even as his country was destroyed around him. He retreated to his bunker in Berlin as Soviet forces closed in. Hitler became increasingly delusional, ordering non-existent armies to counterattack, executing generals, and blaming everyone but himself for Germany's defeat. On April 30th, 1945, with Soviet soldiers just blocks away, Adolf Hitler committed suicide in his bunker. Germany surrendered unconditionally on May 8, 1945. Europe was in ruins. World War II in Europe was over, but the Pacific War continued until August 1945, ending after atomic bombs were dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. The final toll was almost incomprehensible. Approximately 70 to 85 million people dead, about 3% of the world's population. The Soviet Union alone lost over 25 million people. 6 million Jews were murdered in the Holocaust, along with millions of others, including Roma, disabled people, political prisoners, and prisoners of war. Hitler's wars didn't just fail, they left Germany devastated, divided, and occupied. His dream of a 1,000-year empire lasted just 12 years, but created suffering that echoed for generations. Understanding this history is vital. It reminds humanity of the cost of hatred, dictatorship, and war.